Hello, welcome to the Tampa Museum of Art. My name is Todd Smith, Executive Director here at the museum, and it's a pleasure to be able to show you some of the great exhibitions we have on view this spring here at the museum. Here we are in the entrance of the exhibition, Romare Bearden's Southern Recollections. This is an exhibition that brings together 83 collages that the artist created throughout his lifetime that recall his experiences in the American South. He was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, moved to Pittsburgh and Harlem, but we've revisited Charlotte several times as he grew older. So this exhibition brings together the myths and the ideas that really shaped his life as an artist living in New York. For many, Bearden was the master of collage in the 20th century and also reintroduced the technique into the 1960s and really became a popular form. When you enter the exhibition, the first work you'll encounter is a work entitled Carolina Shout from 1974, and it's a pivotal collage for the artist. The exciting part about this work is it celebrates a baptism, one of the many rituals that the artist was inspired by throughout his career, and it brings together a trademark collage style of overlapping of found images with created work to create this amazingly rich and deep experience of understanding Bearden's view of his own past. I'm standing next to two works in the early part of the exhibition titled Prevalence of Ritual, Tidings, and one is a collage. The work closer to me is a collage, and the work slightly further away is a photostat reproduction of that collage. In 1964, Bearden became very interested in exploring both the small-scale opportunities of collage, but also the larger-scale opportunities that a reproduction of a collage would allow. And primarily for the larger reproductions that they would be all in black and white, really as a way of calling attention to some of the racial issues that were characterizing the New York environment as well as the American environment. The work directly to my right is a work entitled The Tidings, and it's a scene of the Annunciation, the scene from the Bible where the Archangel Gabriel comes to Mary and provides her with a lily and announces to her that she'll be with child, and that child, of course, is Jesus Christ. And so Bearden takes that well-known image from the history of art and here transposes it into a scene that has in the background images from the American South, as well as, importantly, images of the church and the train, which you see in the background. The train for Bearden was a very important symbol. It really was a way for him to talk about the black experience in America, primarily the fact that the train allowed for African Americans in the American South to go to the North as a way of freedom. But it also, oftentimes trains were very close to African American neighborhoods in the South, so the train was a constant presence within the African American community. And the train was also a somewhat divisive symbol because it provided opportunity for people to go away and sometimes not to come back. So while it figures significantly throughout the exhibition, right here it's used as one of the many features of this scene that draws attention to the Annunciation. Here we're looking at a work titled The 20s, Mecklenburg County, Early Carolina Morning from 1978. It's one of 28 collages that Bearden did in 1978, all about Mecklenburg County, which is the county where Charlotte sits. What I'm extremely intrigued with this work is really the story it tells about collage making and how Bearden was an artist who was fascinated both by representation but also by abstraction. You see in how he creates the floor on which the figures sit and stand that it is an upturned proposition. That is, the three-dimensional space of the work is not fully understood or rendered. Rather, he creates this effect of image upon image that really builds up the canvas, but more importantly, it gives a sense of depth to the work. You see the main figure in the work, a large woman. Females figure very prominently throughout Bearden's work. And here you see a woman with two hands, one a different color than the other, both of which rather large compared to the figure. Oftentimes for Bearden, the hand was a way of indicating maternal strength and these hands that engulf figures when they're in need. This work, entitled Family from 1986, brings together one of the main themes throughout Bearden's career, and that is his interest in family. This is a multi-generational portrait of Bearden's own family. Bearden is the infant in the arms of his great-grandmother. His great-grandfather sits next to him. Around his shoulder is the arm of his father, Bearden's father, and Bearden's mother to the far right of the composition. This is taking place on the porch of Bearden's grandparents' home in Charlotte, North Carolina. And again, the family is a central and important element within Bearden's work because it allows him to celebrate those things that make all of us exciting and wonderful people, the people that surround us and love us. We've moved out of the Bearden exhibition into an exhibition in the adjacent gallery here at the museum. It's an exhibition titled Don Zonfania, Cyborgs. Don Zonfania is an artist that many people probably have not heard of, but it's someone who in the 1960s and 70s was a real important figure in the American art world. We wanted to show this exhibition of his collages really as a complement to the work of Bearden, and Bearden's collage is about memory, whereas Don Zonfania's images are about the future and really what is going to happen when computers take over the human body. So he's creating these work in the late 1960s, early 1970s. And as you pan around the exhibition, you see this entire suite of 43 what are called cyborg notes. And they're meant to be cautionary tales of what happens when the mechanical world, the computerized world, begins to infringe upon the human body. And so throughout this exhibition, as you walk through it, which is set up mostly chronologically, you see how science and technology really overtakes the human body, and he warns us what will happen if the two don't figure out how to coexist.
To our curiosity, the more delicate algae and the sea anemone. It tosses up our losses, the torn seine, the shattered lobster pot, the broken oar, and the gear of foreign dead men.
We were just listening to an LP of T.S. Eliot, the poet, reading his own work entitled The Four Quartets. This is a work that was chosen by David Byrne of the Talking Heads as one of the LPs in the exhibition John Cage 33 1/3. This exhibition was first performed in 1969. As you see around me, there are 12 turntables in this exhibition, and we asked the visitors to come in and to create their own sounds based on the 300 albums that we've assembled. In 1969, John Cage, one of the foremost composers of the 20th century, created this work really as an opportunity for the visitor to become part of the sound-making experience. And for this exhibition, we've invited 30 artists, visual and performing artists, to give us their top 10 lists of their works that were either inspired by Cage or show some homage to Cage. And we brought those works here, those albums here, for the visitors to use. David Byrne is one of the many artists who are involved in this project. Others include Iggy Pop, Yoko Ono, visual artists such as William Wegman, John Baldessari. And this whole group came together because they really understood the importance that John Cage had for 20th and 21st century music. The celebration of Cage's anniversary of his birth is this year, 2012. He was born in 1912. So this is one of many exhibitions around the country that celebrates the importance of John Cage. This spring at the museum, we're very happy that we're able to bring 3 exhibitions to town that look at the 1960s through the 1980s in a new way to help us understand the visual and the performing arts of the period. From Mayor Bearden to Don Zonfania and to John Cage, we ask you to think differently about our past. So please come and join us this spring at the museum.